The situation at our southern border is a big deal. Our economy is a big deal. Education is a massively big deal. Let's not forget the national debt. That's a pretty big deal. How about corruption in politics? That's huge. The continued progressive balkanization of our country, where we're separating into our own little camps and we're not even talking to each other, that is a massive problem. All of those and probably 1,000 others that we could probably come up with if we put our heads together and wrote them all down. They're all big problems. But the truth is, I believe with all my heart, they're just symptoms of the single biggest problem our nation faces. In this video, I'm going to paint 2 word pictures for you, and at the end of the second one, without a doubt, I know you're going to understand what I believe is the biggest problem our country faces today. Studying the written word together so that we can get to know the living word better. Word picture number 1. Imagine that America is a place where faith and family are celebrated and cherished and honored. A place where men and women come together in faithful covenant biblical marriage, and they love one another and they're committed to one another as Christ calls us to love one another sacrificially and in mutual submission to each other. And within those covenant marriage relationships, children are born to moms and dads. So those children grow up with really healthy examples of masculinity, godly masculinity and godly femininity. And they're nurtured in faith and in love and in biblical truth, so that those children grow up knowing who they are, whose they are, why they're here, who created them, where they come from, where they're going, that they have a purpose in life. They grow up with a clear sense that there is right and that there is wrong, and that truth is objective, and it's not based just on how they feel on any given day, but there's a God who created this world with order, and he has character, and he has revealed his character to us, and that character is the source of what is real and what is true and what is right. And because in this nation, families have come together and loved one another like that for generations, and children have been raised in that kind of an environment where they know who they are, and they know there's a God, and they know there's truth, and they've been taught to love and to trust and to love one another as they love themselves, and to love their neighbor as themselves, and to do unto others as they would have them do unto them. We live in a world where respect is mutual and genuine. Of course there's sin. Of course there are problems, but there's genuine justice. There's genuine truth. There's real compassion. Accountability is a real thing. It doesn't matter if you're the biggest, richest, most powerful person in the world or the average Joe on the street that nobody's heard of. When you break the law, you face the exact same blind justice. In this world, integrity actually has a definition. It literally means to do the right thing even when nobody's watching, because we all grow up with an awareness that no matter where we are, the watching eye of our Father is upon us. Godly love rules and reigns. There is real grace for people when they fall and when they stumble and they express repentance. And we live with a genuine sense of hope because we know who we are and whose we are and why we're here, and we know that God is our God and that he loves us and that he cares for us and that his word and his promises are true. And we know that he'll be with us through every minute of every day, never leaving us, never forsaking us. That when we take our last breath here, we'll be right in his presence as we step into the life here to come. You see, knowing God and knowing his truth and knowing his presence in your life is the bedrock and the cornerstone of hope in society. You show me a nation or a society that functions like that, and I'll show you a nation that is strong and that is growing ever stronger with every generation. Word picture number 2. Now imagine that America is a place where faith and the family are belittled and begrudgingly tolerated at best. They're put down, they're made fun of a lot of the time. Imagine that America is a place where men and women have no real sense of what it means to be godly men or godly women, let alone what it means to come together in faithful covenant, Christ-honoring marriage where they submit to one another and sacrifice for one another until death do them part. So children are born into relationships where dysfunction is rampant and generationally increasing more and more, with zero examples of godly faith, godly masculinity, godly femininity, no real sense of what a dad and a mom are, no examples of what it means for mom and dad to be faithful to one another and to God. Those children grow up with no concept of what absolute truth is. Truth is just this flexible concept that floats around and changes with however you feel on any given day. day. Whatever's popular, whatever happens to be accepted in society at the moment, whatever will get you that promotion or get you to that place that you want to be in life. Maybe you need to be a little creative with the truth over here on this forum or in this job interview or whatever you need to do, because in the end, it's all for a good purpose, right? As a result, any basis for real faith or any trust or any faithfulness in a relationship have evaporated. There's no real sense of respect for authority, because whose authority? What right do they have to tell me what to do? And vice versa, because all the people who are in authority are just people like you and me who've grown up in homes where all of this is evaporated and fallen apart, so they're kind of all out for themselves anyway, so why should they respect us? Justice and accountability are just old-fashioned words that people used to talk about. Now it's just, hey man, if I know somebody, if I know the right guy, if I have enough money, if I have enough power, if I can pull the right strings, I can do whatever I want. Accountability and justice is just getting away with it. It has nothing to do with what is really right or wrong. In that society, people who aren't at the top of the power structure are stepped on, looked over, seen as commodities to be used, while the people with the power literally believe they can get away with anything, and practically speaking, they do this side of heaven. But the ultimate and very sad fruit of that scenario is that there's no hope in that nation. There's no hope in that society, because hope is inseparable from God. And as God is pushed out of the center of people's individual lives, he's pushed out of the mainstream of culture and government and everything else in a society, as he's pushed out to the periphery, so is hope. When people begin to lose hope, they begin to do desperate things. They begin to do violent things. They begin to do irrational things, because they don't know who they are or whose they are or where they come from or why they are even here in the first place. They don't know that there's a God who loves them, who is with them. They don't have an unshakable sense of what is right and what is wrong and what will never change. They're slaves to the whims of the powerful and the strong and those who have the might. Because in a culture like this, those who have the might make right. They're the ones who decide what is good for you or what's not good for you. Unfortunately, if you show me a nation like that, I'll show you the nation that I live in today called America.